All right, so welcome to another video. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at NVDA, one of these crown royal stocks that have been doing fantastic and phenomenal over this last year. And as we wrap up in getting into 2024, I want to take a look at where we are with this stock. So let's go ahead and take a look at NVIDIA and check out what's going on and what's happening with this. So recently, NVIDIA has just been going sideways. And I want you to be mindful of this sideways price action because we have earnings coming out at around February, but the sideways action is normal. It's healthy. After a stock moves up quite a bit, and here I have a colored version where as we go to the upside, it kind of color codes it and keeps the bars green. So I want you to see just the overall normalcy that after a long period of, let's say, down movement, you'll probably get a good period of up movement, and you'll get a good range expansion, range contraction. It's just the way that it works. Now, sometimes those periods are sideways. So just like we had in the past, if you look at it, had an up move, and then we had kind of a down move or a sideways move. Then we had some up move, again, range contraction, and then range expansion. And now we're actually getting some sideways action. So if you look at what's been going on recently is we're kind of playing in this range of between 400 and 500. And you could short at these tops and buy on the bottoms or buy on the dips. And then you could play this stock in this way if you like. There's nothing wrong with it. But for the time being, this stock needs some time to digest. Yes, today it's up another $8 and it looks pretty good from that perspective. I mean, AMD also has been doing well. Intel is not doing as hot today, but many of these chip companies are doing quite well. And the market overall has also been doing quite fantastic. So if we look at the SPX, it's just been trending to the upside, right? Now, if we don't color code the bars and we just kind of look at it a little bit more standard, it's got a little bit more noise in there, and there's some red bars, and you could say, okay, well, maybe it's not something that I would get here at the top. But the reality is we're actually also coming in, like when you start looking at the resistance levels, now we're coming right into this interesting resistance level that we could break through and push even higher, creating some new all-time highs. Now, we also have a Fed decision, Fed announcements, and so on that are coming up. If we take a look at that, let me see if I can pull it up here real quick. Bloomberg economic calendar. And just to show you here what we've got as we come up, this is the April one, not that we need this one. We need the economic calendar. Let me see here. Didn't pull it up as handy here. Not news. Bloomberg economic calendar. There it is. That's what I wanted, not in the news section. Okay, so if we go into the filters area and you go into a little bit more of the advanced side, we'll go to the importance level and we'll apply this. What you'll find here on this economic calendar is that we have the, let's see, where is it? It's Wednesday. We've got the FOMC statement, and we got the Fed interest rate decision, okay? And you can see forecast versus previous, and then the actual that happens. So Fed rate, interest rate decisions. This is what they're going to do, a lot of chatter here on Wednesday, and that'll probably kind of come in there because that's probably one of the bigger things for the week. Yes, there's some retail sales, initial jobless claims, that kind of thing, but I wouldn't really stress them as much as probably this on Wednesday. So we've got that coming up, and this is where things can get really interesting in moving a lot of this market even further and higher now, or it could reverse it and we can go back under and play around in that zone. But that's what I would look at, is that when we start looking at where we're going or where we're coming into, we're starting to come into these weekly upper bands and upper levels, and this market's been quite strong. So when we look at NVIDIA, and when we start looking at the projection, we're starting to knock more and more on this upper range. So think of it like you're trying to hammer through on the roof, trying to knock some things. And as you're trying to push and knock more things through, eventually it'll break through. So right now we've got this digestion period and sideways consolidation. And if we can break through right here, if the market pushes higher, this should push higher as well with the market because it's quite a large part of it. And a lot of people are bullish in this case. So it'll push a little bit further. And then we've got some resistance right there on that possible break. So I'd say even though the market is slightly stretched, if we can get a further momentum increase and pick up in speed, you'll probably see a pickup right here. So for the time being, I'd say wait, watch out, sit tight on your hands until you can get a push through, because otherwise you're playing this upper band and lower band regions. Stock rejects or stock comes down, you play the pops and drops. But if you're waiting for a longer term trend, I would wait till that 500 clears. So anyway, this has been a gold mine for iron condors over the last, since college, probably July time. If you're doing any kind of iron condors, I mean, this thing has been golden for that kind of movement. After a large stock, and just in general, after a large move up or down, iron condors can work well. I find after a large move up, iron condors can work a little bit better than on the upside. Because after the downside, because after a downside, you'll usually get a big expansion up, but after upside, you'll get more of a sideways rather than always a pullback. So here we had a move up, and then you get some sideways action for like 3 or 4 months. So in the same way, also a good time to do things like iron condors or non-directional trading. So when we look at NVIDIA here, we've got some sideways action, but what you'll find is anytime it's coming back into these levels, you're seeing actually a nice pickup in volume. On this last move, we didn't get as much volume, unfortunately, so that's not as good or healthy. So it's a little bit more concerning, but you know, these are the two big levels that I would watch. Now, the other one little part of concern for me is this pullback, a little pop higher. If we get a rejection down, that could also create a to B, B to C, C to D pattern. That also something that I'm kind of keeping an eye on, because right now we're getting right back into this little compression channel. And then if we get a pullback, that could bring that back to lower levels. But otherwise, the stock is still just kind of isolating back and forth. So anyways, that's kind of just my thought and opinion on this one. And when you compare it to what else we've got, the AMD I feel this has got more of a breakout here, and same with Intel. When you look at AMD, it's got a much more clear chart of a breakout, because you have this downside, boom, and a press higher. Even Intel, when you look at it, we've got the daily here, nice level breakout, came back, and now popping. So both of those are doing quite well. So I definitely check out Intel on that, and then same with AMD. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Truly appreciate it. Feel free to check out our website, grab some free webinars, freebies, PDFs, cheat sheets, and so forth. And I will see you in the next video update. Take care. Bye-bye.